Hey, what's up, good people? It's Jay Ray, the co host of Q Points, and I wanted to come to you because there are two really important ways that you can support our show. One is by subscribing to it wherever you listen to or watch your podcasts. Q Points is pretty much everywhere. The other thing that you can do is you can visit us on Apple Podcasts, on Spotify, and on Podchaser, and you can leave us a star rating. Please rate us 5 stars because you know you love Q Points. And on Apple Podcasts and on Podchaser, you can actually leave us a written review. It's not required, but it really does help to spread the word about the show, and it helps people to discover it as they're looking for new podcasts to listen to. We're always appreciative of you supporting Q Points. We thank you so much for all that you've done for us so far, and enjoy the show.
Greetings and welcome back to another episode of Q Points Podcast, dropping the needle on Black music history. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
And my name is Jay Ray, sometimes known by my government as Johnny Ray Cornegay III. What's happening, folks?
I'll tell y'all what's happening. What you didn't see before we came on the air was Jay Ray was chowing down. Chowing down on some jerk chicken. But Jay Ray, I have to call you out on this. You were eating jerk chicken with no rice and peas. What's up with that?
I was. So, y'all, by the way, I love me a Walker's Wood seasoning. Yo, my Jamaican folks, let me know if that's a thing, if I'm like really being blasphemous by using it. But I love marinating in the mild version because the mild version is spicy. I don't know what the hot and spicy is, so I'm never eating that. But so no, I didn't have any rice and peas because I try not to have carbs with my dinner. So I talked about this a couple of months ago. I've been doing my best. Look, I got my water. Doing my best to stay on track health-wise. Yes. I had to eat hotel food for 3 days. And so I didn't have any rice and peas, even though I love rice and peas. I would have just had to have it at lunch. So no, I did not have it with my dinner.
Okay. I mean, that's a perfectly valid explanation because your health is at stake. But for the rest of us, we're not barebacking jerk chicken without some rice and peas. It's just not happening. And speaking of Jamaica and all of the Caribbean, you know, we are praying for your safety. During this hurricane season, Hurricane Beryl, by the time this airs, hopefully Beryl would have, moved on and dissipated, but we are praying for everybody's safety in the West Indies and the Caribbean islands, especially Grenada, Curacao, and St. Kitts and Little Martinique. A lot of those places got really hit hard. Barbados as well. I see all the videos and whatnot, so it's that time of year, it's that season, and we're just praying for everybody's safety. And I'm pretty certain whatever initiatives are being taken place in your city for outreach and help, please look out for that and just see what you can do if your heart is moved to do it.
Absolutely.
But and that's just one of the things about the summer season. The summertime is about vacations and getting away. And a lot of times, Jay Ray, people don't want to fly to far off destinations. A lot of times here in the United States, a lot of people just want to hop in a vehicle and drive to the nearest town or coastal town or their hometown or wherever it is that they want to explore and go on the highways and byways of this country.
Yeah.
Jay Ray, this episode, we're talking about summer road trip music. Yes. But before we get into the meat and potatoes of this conversation, let's clue in the folks that might just so happen to be listening to Q Points for the very first time. and just school them a little bit on how they can become subscribers and let them know about the merchandise as well.
Absolutely. So first thing y'all need to know is Q Points is great for your summer road trips. So make sure that you queue us up in your playlist as you are road tripping throughout the summer. See what I did there? You know, Q Points. So even if you're listening to us on your summer road trip, let us know. We want to know. Tell us where you at. Take a picture at Q Points Pod. Let us know. But if this is your first time here and you're just getting clued in, thank you so much for being here. Thank you to everyone who's tuning in, either whether listening or watching. Hit the subscribe button wherever you are. If you haven't hit that button, go ahead and hit it. It helps us to keep building Q Points. One of the biggest things that Sir Daniel and I have been seeing is we've been seeing our audience grow. We are up 84% over last month right now.
Thank you.
Thank y'all so much for just like tuning into the show. So hit subscribe. Share the show with your friends, family, colleagues. If you are into Q Points, chances are they will really enjoy Q Points as well. So make sure that you share it. And if you're in the car with them, you know what I'm saying? Talk back to us. You know what I'm saying? This is what this is for, right? Last two things. Visit our website, qpoints.com. You can sign up for our newsletter. You can also read our magazine, Q Points Mag. And if you want to help keep the lights on in Q Points land, you can shop our store at store.qpoints.com. Those are all the different ways that you can stay connected to us. We appreciate y'all any way y'all decide to do so.
Yes, and we thank you once again for that growth. It's a beautiful thing to witness. But like I said, Jerry, this summer, 75% of the population, at least 212 million of y'all adults, are going to drive or use driving as your method of summer travel. And I can see that it's relatively inexpensive, you know, unless if you have enough people that are chipping for gas, we'll say. It's relatively inexpensive. But road trips are generally fun. Like right off the top of your head, can you recall the last or the best road trip that you've been on, J. Ray?
Best road trip. You know, the road trip. So let me take a step back. I have a lot of road trip memories because as a kid, my dad would pile us into whatever car we were driving or that he had rented in the 80s. And we would drive 8 hours from Chester to North Carolina, or South Carolina. So it was 10 hours to South. It was 8 hours to North. And we would do that every summer. And so I was very familiar with like the road trip. I grew up road tripping, right? My favorite road trip, though, actually is not from when I was a kid. It is from summer 1999. Myself, Leon, and James hopped in Leon's dad's Chevy minivan. I can't remember the name of it. And we drove to Atlanta for Pride. Black Gay Pride 1999. That was my second time in Atlanta. And we were driving a white minivan down the highway to the A. And yo, I will never forget. So that was the summer. The writings on the wall was real hot that summer. So it was a lot of Destiny's Child happening in the car, which is really interesting for me and Leon because we both are have very eclectic music tastes. So you would hear a little bit of everything, but I do remember Bugaboo playing a lot. We were apparently really into that joint.
Bugaboo was a jam.
Right.
And what I like most about Bugaboo now is that when you listen to it, they're running off the bunch of names of companies that don't even
exist anymore and saying things that people are like, what is this song even about? And I'm like, listen.
My AOL,
AOL make my email stop? Like, what?
Hilarious. One of my most memorable road trips was the journey my mother and I took from St. Petersburg, Florida to New York.
Mm-hmm.
It was memorable because I was only 15
Mm-hmm.
and I had just gotten, I think, okay, so in the state of Florida, I had a license, but it was restricted.
Yeah.
And I had to be in the vehicle, driving in the vehicle with an adult in order to be operating the vehicle.
Right.
And so we had packed up all our belongings. You know, there was some life changes. We packed up all our belongings, and it was a Buick.
Mm-hmm.
4-door. I want to say,
Was it the Century? Was it the Regal? Was it the Big John? What was it? The Park Avenue?
no, I want to say it was the Regal.
Okay.
I want to say it was the Regal. And, you know, God bless her, my mom, she tried to drive as much as she could. But my mom really is one of those people that does not do well driving on expressways. She cannot handle it. And so 15-year-old me was like, bet, I got this.
You like, I got this, Mom.
And, you know, despite all her fears and trepidation, she was, you know, nervously let me drive the majority of the road trip I drove from St. Petersburg, Florida to New York City. And I'll never forget when we got to New York, there was a clear difference in the way people were driving. Matter of fact, she made me stop and pull over because she was just like, nah, you can't handle this because these, you know, New York drivers are different. It was a different speed and I did really well music wise, what I can remember, because that was 1990, summer of 91, I want to say. And we didn't have a fancy cassette recorder. It was just the radio.
Yeah.
Every different city I would spin the dial to manage and find the hip hop and R&B station. And I recall there were at least 3 songs that followed us from city to city.
Yeah.
Color Me Bad's
I Want to Sex You Up.
I'll
Adore Me More.
Adore Me More. Jamanda's Got a Love for You.
I want that following me now.
And Vanessa, was it Vanessa popping?
91 was the Comfort Zone year, so maybe.
Vanessa Williams, Running Back to You. So I recall those 3 songs vividly following us from city to city as we traveled from the bottom, as they call it, all the way to New York. And that, to this day, road trips are very special. It's a great time to bond with the people that you're riding with. Or if you're rolling solo, you know, that's an experience in and of itself. I drove, you know, that drive from Atlanta to Savannah.
Yeah.
It's 4 hours, but that is 4 of the longest hours.
There's not much to see, right?
There's a stretch on I-16. It's nothing but trees. Nothing but trees.
So to that point, so you know this, I love road trips. I'm actually going to be on a road trip at the end of this month. We're going to the family reunion in South Carolina, and I'm taking my mom. But so I would do Atlanta to Philly a lot. I have a story there. I'm going to tell you that story in a second. But I will say to that bonding piece.
Yes.
2005. So this is right after Katrina, maybe within the week or 2 after Katrina. It's that fresh.
Yeah.
It's
August.
It's August. It was August, early September. It was hot. I flew home to drive my parents and my grandfather. I literally flew home to drive them to a family reunion. What was so special about this was my grandfather. I had never taken a road trip with my dad's dad. I had never taken a road trip with a real road trip with any of my grandparents for real. So my dad's dad and I relationship wasn't super close. It wasn't strained. It just wasn't close. You know what I'm
Sure.
saying?
Yes.
Although my grandfather, my dad's dad, did save me from choking. I have a deathly fear of choking from this one time where I literally could have died, and he gave me the Heimlich maneuver. I still remember it. Anyway, I got to drive my grandfather to North Carolina. Oh, Sir Daniel, the stories. I got to learn how he met my grandmother. I got to learn how he and my grandmother fell out. Like, I got to learn how all of the family like kind of met each other like in the town that we were going to.
Mhm.
It was the best time for me to just learn all of this stuff. And he sat, so my mom sat way in the back. I rented a van. I don't know why I rented a van. I'm glad I rented a van though, because he had like his own seat and he was sitting back. He was like, nah, I'm good, grandson. He sounded just like my dad. And so he sat there and would just talk to me the whole time. And we were driving. My dad was actually sitting in the passenger side asleep, which I knew I could drive because my dad was knocked out.
You know you're doing a good job when your parent is knocked out. Yes.
Yeah. So I just wanted to talk about like that bonding time of being able to, if you have the opportunity to road trip with people who you know, or you're trying to get to know for the most part, unless it's like awkward and weird, road tripping is super fun. Last thing I wanted to say, I took a great road trip, always got my music pumping, but GPS, I was driving back and it was snowing and GPS was like, traffic is happening. You should get off. Baby, okay. I was driving through the mountains of Virginia. Not
Nice.
fun. Nope. Nope. I lost cell phone reception. I lost in the mountains of Virginia.
That's where the Wrong Turn is based off, right? Yeah.
No.
We're not looking for no hillbillies to hop out of any bushes or anything. But you made it, obviously.
I did.
And so that's the thing. So like you were saying, road trips can be a balance of conversation and tunes, you know.
Definitely.
It's a balance. It's a balance like you said, depending on who you're riding with. But all of our journeys, all our best journeys seem to have taken place like in the yesteryears, right? I was 1990, your family road trips. Jared, that makes me think about like how much vehicle technology has advanced over the years. It's crazy to think that there was a time, where we didn't have to put on a seatbelt. They just slung us in the back seat of the car and said, hold on.
Oh no, your parent, they have to stop. They'll put their arm out.
Put it in the back to stop. Yep. And there weren't individual seats. There was the all together
Big bucket seats. And when you had to move it up, you'd be like, let's go. 1, 2.
Together now. Yep, exactly. Well, and the music in the car was the same way. There was a time when cars only had radios.
Yep.
If they had radios. And those radios may only have had an AM dial.
I can't imagine that. I would be like, sir.
Lots of talk radio. Oh my God, I can't even imagine. Then from radio, we progressed to the 8-track. They had 8-track players installed in vehicles.
Yep.
Then the 8-tracks became a little too bulky, so then they minimized it to the cassette players.
Oh, what a time we had. Remember when it would auto reverse? Bruh.
Yeah, if you were fancy. No, but you know what the real flex was? Remember when you could take your cassette player out of the car because
people would steal it. So you had to pop that baby out.
It looked like a little mini lunchbox.
Right.
It was a big component. And then but then that got even smaller when CDs were introduced.
Yep.
And CD players, now you could do the same thing when you took off the
faceplate.
The faceplate of your CD player, which I don't think, well, I guess it does make sense. And now we've evolved from CD players to just straight up Bluetooth systems.
So, question for you to that point, Sir Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
How did you? What did you prefer? Like, was it? I have fond memories of all of these, especially like cassettes and CDs. Now, I never want to listen to cassettes again, me personally. They just sound terrible.
Yeah.
But so I prefer CDs just from a sound perspective. But what about you? Like, what do you prefer from like a sound perspective?
Listen, I have had quite the vehicle journey. I went from having my very first car was an 86 Ford LTD.
Oh, that's a big John too.
Powder blue with a big old orange rust stain over one of the eyes of the headlights. So, you know, when I would pull up in the school parking lot, the kids would be like, the goose is loose, the blue goose is loose. And but yeah, I remember, I think I said this before on here. I remember being stuck in Freaknik traffic and only had a radio.
I do remember
A radio. So whenever I got another vehicle and it had a cassette player, I felt like I was Gucci.
Yes.
I felt I was so good. And then my mom gave me her I can't remember what year that thing is, but it was a Mitsubishi Diamante.
Uh-huh.
See, multiple CD player, mind you. So, you know, I was like, oh, that's a big deal. But Jared, guess where the CD player was located?
I know exactly where it was.
In the friggin' trunk. If you all remember that foolishness.
That was the dumbest design.
It was ridiculous. So remember, in the CD days, we already had, I'm sure most of y'all had those humongous Bible.
Oh, hell yeah. With CDs, it was fat and it was
huge things to keep your CDs in. Or if you were conservative, you had it in the visor.
Right. But you had to curate the visor, though. It's like, I only need these 12.
Bro, it's like if I took the time to put the CDs into the multi-disc player in the trunk, I had to make absolutely certain like I was good with those CDs for a minute, or at least for this journey that I was about to go on.
Yes.
Because once I get there, or once I start moving, I'm not going back there and changing CDs. It's just like that's too much hassle. I absolutely hated that aspect of having of that multi-disc CD changer, but it was in the back. Now I will say it was a did you ever have your CD Walkman and use and have the cassette?
Absolutely.
That was a time also.
That was a time.
Because you had to make sure it was placed somewhere where it was stable and didn't move around a whole bunch.
Yes. And I remember the anti-skip technology, like, was a big deal. I found that Sony had like the best anti-skip tech in there. But you're right. I remember I used to have to place it kind of in between me and the passenger seat, like under the armrest, because it was like stable there. Like it could sit there and not move.
Man, and if that messed up, if the aux, the cassette player messed up, you had to, I'm just not going any, I have to stop and buy another one because I have to have tunes while I'm riding. I have to. But you all, I'm sure, had the same deals to deal with as far as making sure the music was right while you were driving. But Jerry, this time of the year, when people are taking these road trips, sometimes it's best not to even fool with your own vehicle. But sometimes it's best to rent a vehicle.
Yes.
And Jerry, you and I have recently had some experiences where we've had like A1 rental car experiences with particular vehicles. And, you know, because we are a music show, of course, the sound and everything was particularly important to us. So, Jerry, what was the vehicle that you rode in?
Yeah, so the last long road trip that I took was about 12 hours, South Carolina again. And I drove a Ford Explorer. So this is last year. The Ford Explorer had the latest in the Ford Sync system, which is actually one of my favorite kind of multimedia systems in a car. It's very easy to use. I had a Ford brand car for a long time, so I'm really, and what's crazy is even though the system's like all upgraded, like all the commands are exactly the same, so I could talk to the car pretty easily. But to your point, the sound, like because they're kind of big behemoths of SUVs, I was gliding number one, which is dope, and everything sounded so crisp. Like I could still hear the people talking in the back, but I could also really clearly hear the music coming across, and it just sounded really good. So yeah, I highly recommend it. If you can rent a Ford Explorer, rent one. They're really cozy. What did you rent?
So recently, the fellas, we took a trip to North Carolina, Winston-Salem to be exact. And when we pulled up to the rental place, they had a 2024 brand new Mitsubishi Outlander. So a new Mitsubishi, different experience, because we're not filming with CD players anymore in 2024.
They not nowhere to be found.
None to be found. And so that was my first time experiencing Android Auto. And it was like,
ain't it magic?
It's so dope. Once my phone is connected, it was like the GPS was all on one screen. I could have another little window with the music on it, because I still keep my music on me. Like my music is I download it to my phone. And everything was on there. And like you said, I could just speak to it.
Yeah.
And so that Mitsubishi Outlander had Android Auto, but it also had, for the people in the car that had iPhones, it had the Apple CarPlay system.
Yep.
Now you want to talk about fire sound system, it was all Bose.
Nice.
So, it was really, we were in there kind of thumping, but when we needed to turn it down, and it was nice. It was just a really nice car system. And sometimes, depending on the sound, you don't even want to give it back. It's like, wow, this is really nice. I like how my music sounds in here. And it makes the road all for a better road trip, for sure, because you don't have to worry about looking at your phone. You don't have to, all of it is right there on the screen for you to manipulate the GPS or manipulate the music. And like you said, sometimes you don't even have to touch that. You can just talk to it and it just follows your command.
Yeah. So to that point, and especially with you being a DJ, how do you deal with who controls the music? Like, what are your rules? What are Sir Daniel's rules about who controls the music and when?
It's a very simple rule. Whoever's driving is in charge of the music.
That is exactly the way I believe. If you are driving, you're responsible for the music. Now, if you give up that responsibility, that is fine, but I follow the same rule. I'm driving, I'm listening to what I want to listen to. Hang on to your hats, kids.
You're gonna enjoy this this beatbox solo by Baby D or whoever. You're gonna enjoy that for the next 5 minutes while we coasting down the highway. But to that point of who's in charge of the aux cord, like we were saying earlier, when we were dealing with cassettes and CDs, Jerry, that meant we had to curate lists, and a lot of times that was not a short process.
No,
you had to have a dual cassette recorder.
Yes.
And if we were moving up to the late 90s, early 2000s, you had to have some type of CD burner program on your computer.
Yeah. That is so crazy when you reflect on that now, because I forgot about that. So clearly there was I didn't get my first computer. This is crazy to say, but I didn't get my first computer until 1998. So that means I was road tripping through periods of time where cassettes I could work out, because cars started to have both cassette players and CD players at the time. But you would have that big old Bible of CDs that you would have to just put in whatever it is that you was going to put in. And for a little bit, like it wasn't easy to just like, I'm gonna play this one song on this one CD, pop it out, and then put in another one. You're driving, you don't have time to do that, right? So you're gonna like this CD, right? For as long as you're gonna like it. But yeah, you're right. It was much harder. It was easier to curate on cassette, but overall just generally much harder, because if you had the double tape, like some of the stuff you wanted on the cassette was on the CD, some of the stuff you wanted on the cassette was on the cassette, so you had to like strategically figure out what this was going to be,
going back and forth. And and let's not even talk about the LimeWire days.
That was a time. We should probably just do a time when that happened. LimeWire, Napster, all of that
stuff. Because I guess that did make it easier for you to burn CDs, but it's still.
You just had to take time, though.
Had to take time, and listen, those CDs took up a lot of space. It was the big spool. Like if you spent the money to get the big spool of CDs so that you could have it, because you were just that whatever whim came over you to make a new CD of mix, you had to have them available so you could burn it onto the CD and for whatever ride or whatever struck your fancy at that time. Or you were making CDs for somebody or all kinds of nonsense.
Oh my God. What's interesting, and maybe I'll find a way to share this with the Q Points family. Two mix CDs I'll never forget. I visited home and my brother, I love it when other people would make me mix CDs. So Joshua, my best friend Joshua, would make me mix stuff often. I have several mixes on Spotify that he's made for me that I still play to this day. But my brother made me, I had visited home at some point and he made me a mix. It was called John Car Mix. That shit was hot. That mix was hot. That mix,
Disco Disciple, so of course it was gonna be.
It was by Disco Disciple. It was nothing but bangers on John Car Mix, and he made it so that I could drive back home and have a mix that I could play. And I remember that mix. So that was in the probably 2011, 2012, which were probably the final years that I made like CD mixes, because I will find a way to do this. I made a series called The John, I think, of course, why not? Because I'm from here. And it was, I think I ended up doing 5 of them actually. And I still have those mixes. I digitized those mixes.
Oh,
and I'll find a way to put them so that our folks can see what I was doing. But number 4 ended up being really popular. It was my dance mix. I think I called it like Disco Balls and something else or whatever. But a lot of people wanted that. I burned that joint like a lot for a lot of other people. What was your did you have a famous mix back in those days?
I didn't have a famous mix. I just had playlists, because all the playlists were like specifically for me. And now what I was doing, what I did have the opportunity to do, was I would get a lot of CDs, because I was working 2 places. I was working at HMV Record Store and I was working at the radio station. So I was inundated with CDs. I would get like all stuff that was just about to come on the radio. I would get the CD single with the instrumental, all of that stuff. And it got to a point where I can't carry all of this stuff with me in the car. And because I had a Buick LeSabre by that point. And I was just not, so that was just like, okay, I'm just going to compile all these songs, the dopest stuff that I want, and put it all on one CD so I could just minimize the amount of junk I was carrying around, because it was a lot. You young generation, you got it so good. You don't understand. You have the freedom of not being cluttered by a bunch of CDs and cassettes. Now you have places like Pandora or Spotify, even YouTube. YouTube can curate a playlist for you, or there are already playlists specifically made for road trips
Yep.
on these platforms. And I'm like, you know what? Sometimes if you don't even want to think about it, you just say, hey, you just use the voice control, and one of the platforms can curate something for you while you are on the road. And that's okay for people that are okay with giving up that kind of control.
Absolutely. That's not for everybody. I will say, as a as a person who's really into control, I have found that all of these platforms in many ways have figured out, based on what you're listening to, what is a good follow. Just the other day, YouTube Music did a dope flow of a playlist. Like, I was just in the car and I was like, oh my God, that's a banger. That's a banger too. This is a banger. It was so good. I saved that playlist because it allows you to go back and save what it had played so far. Bunch of 90s and 80s joints. I'll find a way to post that too so that people can, have access to it. But Sir Daniel, I'm curious. So the thing about road trips is there are certain songs that just work really well for road trips. So I'm curious for you, what makes a good road trip song? Like, what's your thing?
Well, Jerry, I'm glad you asked that question because, I fancy myself the aux god. And
That's AUX God.
Exactly. And as a DJ, of course, I think I'm the best at curating your music for you. But Jerry, I've boiled it down to a science. I believe that there are 3 major components to making a great road trip song, or what makes a song road trip worthy. Mm-hmm. And it's just 3 simple components. 1, it's the lyrics gotta be easy lyrics to sing along to or rap along to, and preferably something that you feel like you can apply to yourself. Like, although like Return of the Mac. About that song. But you can sing it in first person, right? You can sing, or Snoop and Dr. Dre, 1, 2, 3
into the foe. Snoop Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the dough.
At the dough. And so it's super simple. Go ahead.
No, and cross generation too. Because the cool thing about these songs that we're talking about as well, especially when you think about, my dad was rapping. My dad was so into like Snoop and Nothing But a G Thing and all of that stuff. So he could rap it too.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you said that. Okay. Songs that are duets or have multiple lead singers.
Yes.
Automatically, so what this does, it allows for passenger interaction. That, so that everybody feels that they can be involved. And that way, you don't feel left out, especially the driver. The driver needs to stay awake. I need the driver to be alert.
Yes.
So if that means we're gonna sing, a song comes to mind, Jerry?
What?
Womack and Womack, Baby, I'm Scared of You. Because it starts off real.
Yeah.
It starts off real calm, and then it kind of crescendos.
Yes, and you start grooving.
The man is singing to the woman is singing to the man. It's the perfect road trip song.
Yes.
I can't understand that, babe. I can't understand. And you're singing back and forth to each other. And next thing you know, an hour has gone by and y'all are just singing at the top of your lungs.
Yes.
And just enjoying a road trip. Number 3, drama. A great, a song, a great road trip song has to have some type of story arc or lyrics that you can pantomime to. Especially rap lyrics, kicking the doorway, then the full.
Papa, don't give it no.
One of my favorites is Lil' Kim's Aunt Dot.
I don't know Lil' Kim's Aunt Dot.
You don't know Aunt Dot? My Aunt Dot have a Glock and some blood on the sheets. Told me clean this shit up. Left me peace. Whack ass caliber, nickel plated with the sounds to what? What?
See? The things you learn.
And it's such a great narrative. It's a great first person narration story that Kim is telling, and then she does other voices and she does the Aunt Dot voice and whatnot. It's a story.
Yes.
So those, even if you think about Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen.
Oh, great road trip song. I mean, there's nothing. Yeah, I agree. So the drama, you're right, because the drama and the story does add stuff that you can, one, you always learn something new if you listen to some of those songs, and it gives people, once again, a chance to kind of play off of it. Because if somebody does a particular voice in that song, because it has multiple parts and has dramatic, you can have a good time. I like that.
Don't let there be like a monologue in the beginning of the song.
Right.
Like an old Millie Jackson song. Dum, 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 dum. Just, yeah. So that's my formula for what makes a great road trip song. If you're listening to this, please let us know what you think makes a great road trip song, or what you think are awesome road trip songs, because I would love to know what you think are great road trip songs.
Yes. To that point, I was actually thinking about road tripping from that perspective. And one song that came on today, and I knew that we were going to do this show, Everything She Wants by Wham is a great road trip song. You got to everybody can sing at the top of their lungs.
And you can pantomime playing the keyboards.
Yes.
Dum 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 dum. You can put pantomime all of that, and all the ad libs.
Yeah.
Fantastic. You know what? 80s was a generation of great road trip music.
Yes.
There's no denying.
Star Point's Object of My Desire is a great road one. And these are up songs that give you energy.
Jefferson Airplane, We Built This City.
We Built This City by Jefferson Airplane is a bop. Question.
Yes.
Okay, Sir Daniel. So what are your feelings about, because I don't like this kind of carrying on. Everybody falling asleep while you driving. I need somebody while I'm driving. I need somebody with me while I'm driving. Now, I might be fully awake. It's not about the awake part. Yeah. It is, I want somebody to talk to.
It's courteous. It's just plain courtesy. It's plain etiquette for somebody to stay awake while the driver is driving. You are absolutely right. I don't know who raised y'all. One of y'all is supposed to stay awake and keep the driver company. And I'm saying this because typically I end up being the one that does all the driving. Right. I'm the DD. I am the one that does most of the driving for the road trips. So one of y'all gonna have to stay up with me. Mm-hmm. So when we come back, I really enjoyed this conversation.
Yes.
It brought back a lot of memories. But like I said, we want to hear from you all about your road trip memories. Drop us an email, drop us a message, a comment at the bottom of this episode, and let us know. And Jerry, I think we should release like a YouTube playlist or something.
Absolutely. We got to get people something that they can road trip to, because it's that time of year. So stay into it.
We have a Q Points road trip playlist for you coming up very soon.
Our YouTube comments have been amazing. It's been really dope seeing y'all comment on the YouTube.
We can tell who's watched the shows and who hasn't, but go ahead.
We absolutely can. I feel like they ain't watched the show because they wouldn't comment that if they watched the show.
They wouldn't have said that.
They wouldn't have said that. But visit us on our website, qpoints.com. Join the newsletter. Sign up for Q Points Mag. That is awesome. And shop our store.qpoints.com. And just in general, just thank y'all for rocking with your boys. We appreciate y'all so much.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. And what I always say, J. Ray, in this life, you have a choice. You can either pick up the needle or you can let the record play. I am DJ Sir Daniel.
My name is J. Ray, y'all.
And this has been Q Points Podcast, dropping the needle on Black music history. We will see you on the next go round. and happy trails out there, y'all, and be safe.
Peace, y'all.